Ruth B and Situation from her new album, Moments in Between. Ruth B is a singer-songwriter from Edmonton, Alberta, who got to start making videos of her singing online that really blew up on an old platform that doesn't even exist anymore, which is Vine. And somehow she's managed to transition that into massive worldwide success. Well, it's not necessarily even somehow, given the quality and how personal Ruth B's songs are. She's now back with her second studio album, and I'm happy to say that Edmonton's own Ruth B joins me now. How are you?
Yay, thank you. I'm great. So excited to be here talking to you again. Thank you for having me.
It's lovely to see you again. I haven't seen you in ages.
Yeah, it's been a few years. We definitely go back, but I'm super excited to be here via Zoom.
How are you? Like in the real way.
Yeah. I'm good. I'm good. I'm excited. I have an album coming out in a couple days, so that has me really excited. But yeah, I'm good. I'm hanging in there like everyone else, making the most of a situation for sure. Yeah, I can't complain though.
You were living in New York?
Yeah.
And then the pandemic hits and you move back to the folks' house in Alberta. How is that, Ruth?
It has its challenges. It also has its pros. I think I was like just falling in love with New York City and just finding my own little niche and groove when everything happened. So it made sense at the time to just come back here and wait things over. I think in a weird way, it's been kind of cool to like reconnect with myself as a writer as well, just because a lot of the music that I was making, I was making out in studios in LA and writing music that way, which was very different from my first album. And then to come back here, it just really got me in touch with like the origins of how I fell in love with writing, which is in my room by myself on my keyboard. So in that sense, I guess it was almost cool. It was like a reminder of like where I come from and what I love and why I love it.
I want to talk to you about that. I do find that really interesting, the idea of going back to writing how you originally wrote and writing in the way that sort of got you your name. But, there's an interesting phenomenon, I think, that happens when you make it big, is that your friends can treat you a bit differently, or people in your community can treat you a bit differently, or you can't be, Ruth from Edmonton, you have to be Ruth B. How's that been?
Yeah, I think at first that was something I definitely struggled with when things first started changing, I guess, in my life. I think now, luckily, I've just been able to kind of like keep my core people super close, like my family and my best friends. And that's really all that matters to me and what means the most. Obviously, it can be a lot when you go out and like whatever, people recognize you. But honestly, I feel like I just had to like switch my mindset and be like, this is all like a really positive thing, and you still have the people who know you and love you for you, and it's not all madness. And honestly, I feel like in Edmonton, I guess before it used to feel a lot more hectic, but now I feel like relatively just like a part of the city like everyone else, which is kind of nice.
Let's play some music from the new record. Take a listen.
Sigh of relief after the first time I told you that I loved you in the New York lights, and the laughter that ends every fight. It's the smile behind my brother's eyes when he tells me about another crazy thing he finds. It's the ray of sun that hits my face when I'm in a rush to get someplace. It's the moments in between, the moments that I might not see.
That is Moments in Between, the title track off Ruth B's new album. Tell me a little bit about what that song is about.
Yeah, so that was actually the last song that I wrote for this album, and it's funny because the first album, the last song I wrote for it was also Safe Haven, and I ended up naming it after that, which might be a theme now. But I think for me, this song was really just like learning about the importance of the small things that we all used to take for granted, like literally being able to go see your friend and give them a hug, or like hanging out, and all these little things that I never paid close attention to back, or even when I was in New York and living this like grand life. When I came back here, it was so overwhelming to go back to just like this, like, sequestered thing. But I think, yeah, the main lesson I learned throughout 2020 and 2021 was just like the beauty of the simplest things and how amazing they are. And I call them the little moments in between.
Like what?
I guess exactly like what I said. Like there's a line in there that says like, it's the quiet before the song, the deep breath before you jump. Like or there's a line in the song particularly where I talk about missing being able to go out with my friends. And you would think the thing you miss is like the event, like the party and the loud music. But the thing I miss is like being in our bedroom, drinking wine, like doing each other's makeup and talking about life. And like the small things that you don't think are the main event typically make up the little like mosaic that is life, I guess. So yeah, I don't know if that makes sense.
No, it makes sense. It's very, very meditative to me. You know what I mean? Like, I think,
Hey.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I mean, I had a lot of time to like think about this stuff and get really deep into my head and like just think about like everything. So I feel like a lot of this album, you get like my deepest thoughts, because I had like hours and hours every day just in my room on my piano to like think again.
Did you find it hard to create a schedule by which you could work if you're by yourself in your piano all day in your bedroom?
Yeah. The first few months were hard, especially just because I never considered myself like tech savvy. And when my managers first started talking about you need to like set up a mini studio and like things that probably seem so simple, like to me, like the idea of doing Logic and a microphone and all this was like insane to me. But I have an amazing music director out in Brooklyn, and we did a lot of Zoom sessions where he would just tell me, no, that goes into this hole or this whatever. And like, we ended up sorting it out. But yeah, those first few months where I get like anything, it was just such a culture shock to go from studios every day in New York with different writers and different producers to just like back in my room with my own thing. It was definitely different.
But back in your room with your own thing is how it happened. Like, I think I've told you this before, but when the big song came out, when Lost Boy came out, I, for some reason, even though I was a bit old for it by then, but I had Vine and I saw it. I saw the Vine that made you so successful. Crazy. And you started hinted at this earlier, but I hope you could talk a little bit more about it, is that you come from the music you made in your bedroom. The music you made in your bedroom without any expectations of fame or fortune or a music director in Brooklyn or a record label or a manager. It came out of your house in Edmonton, and you travel the world and you become this great success, and then you're back in your house in Edmonton because of the pandemic making music again. How was that?
Yeah, that's deep. I think it was like cathartic, really. I don't know. I don't think I ever like lost sight of that or lost touch. I know when I made my first album, I was really adamant about writing all the songs myself and like staying true to that and writing them in my room. And the back of my first EP, like the cover is the ceiling of my bedroom, and that's how like intense that was for me and how much it meant to me. And so it was like I was hesitant but excited to go out there and venture and like do new things and write with different people and write in bigger spaces. But I think in a way, like I did miss the intimacy and the honesty, I think, that you can only tap into when it's just you in like your safe place, which is for me, my room. So I think at first my head was telling me like, oh my gosh, I miss New York. Like I miss this, and I miss the availability of like being able to work with other people. But in a weird way, I think it did feel really good to just like be back and like be just Ruth and write songs exactly how I started, which is like me and my keyboard. So
it doesn't feel like you've been changed too much by all of the fame and success and money and all that.
Yeah, I don't think I have. I think in terms of changing, I think I just like grew a love for collaborating with people and like working with different writers and and just the friendships that come out of that, which I didn't like realize before. But in terms of like all the other stuff, yeah, I feel like that was never my thing. I just wanted to make music, and obviously that comes with it, but I don't know, it's just never was really the main thing for me at all.
Where does that come from? Does that come from your upbringing or something? Like most people, you know, when presented with that thing, they get so excited about it, they would glom on to that kind of thing. Where does that come from in you?
I think definitely. I mean, I owe all like the credit to my family, my parents. I just had a really good example of like what it means to be content and what real happiness is, like love and family and relationships and friendship and sitting around a fire and listening to your favorite music with your friends. That for me is like when I feel the best. So yeah, I definitely owe credit to my parents for that one.
Let's listen to some more music. Take a listen to this.
Summer days are lonely when it's only me in my room. Wondering if you know that I'm still singing about you. Found your dirty Nikes, they remind me of what I've been through.
Dirty Nikes from Ruth B's new album, Moments in Between. I'm Tom Power. You're listening to Q. Ruth B from Edmonton, and in Edmonton is joining me right now. I love the sound of your voice on that song. I don't think I've heard that part of your voice before.
Thank you. Yeah, no, I don't think I've ever sang in that kind of falsetto, but my executive producer, Patrick, really pushed me on this record and was very adamant that I can do things with my voice that I didn't even know I could do. So it was really cool to venture into that space.
What was that like for you to be sort of pushed into directions you hadn't gone in before?
I think it was great. And I think that is what made me fall in love with the collaborative process of music. And you can only push yourself so far, and inevitably you set boundaries for yourself. But when someone else hears you, they're kind of able to tell you you could probably do this, or you could try that, or you could write this. And at first I was so against that, but now I'm you learn so much. And I feel like in the past year and a half of writing with other people, I just was like a sponge, and feel like I'm not the writer I was when I first started, for sure.
But you've always managed to find a way to write beautifully about love. And I don't mean necessarily love between two people who are romantically attached, but the love between friends, or falling out of love, or the love for life. I know it's a bit broad, Ruth, but can you talk about that a little bit? What you get out of writing about love?
Yeah, it's funny because I feel like growing up, I'd always wonder, why are most songs love songs? Whether it's about falling in love or out of love, or just love in general. And I think now as a writer, it's just, I think love is such an umbrella, and there's so many little emotions that you can feel under love. You can be angry, or you can be sad, you can be excited, you can be scared. There's so much stuff to say about love. And like you said, it doesn't just have to be a romantic kind of love in every aspect. And so I really do think it's just the easiest thing to write about, because it's just so there all the time, and it's a lot of what life consists of, I guess.
Here's another one I've been thinking about, and this might be a bit tough for you, but you write these beautiful long songs, and by long I mean 3 minutes long, 3 minutes and 20 seconds long, but you get famous on Vine, which I think was 7 seconds.
Yeah,
and now your songs are blowing up on TikTok. How long are TikToks? I'm 1,000 years old. How long are TikToks?
I think they can be up to a minute,
but so not 3 minutes and 20 seconds.
No.
There seems to be something about your music that loans itself well to brevity. Even though the long songs are beautiful, I want to say that. Do you have any idea what it is?
I really wish I knew. Maybe thinking about it, maybe it's because I had that experience with Vine, subconsciously, I'm just writing as much as I can and packing all the emotions I can in a song. But I honestly have no idea. Someone asked me that the other day, do you ever write thinking about, oh, this will do this on TikTok or that? And I honestly can say no. It always blows me away when someone will tell me oh, this or that. But yeah, I don't know that there's a formula. But I think about it too. I'm that's really weird that I made this work off of 6 seconds. It's kind of crazy. I think
there is a formula. I just don't think you've succumbed to it.
I've tapped into it. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I succumbed to it is what I would use. I think that you make great music, but maybe it's my cynical brain. Sometimes I listen to songs and I go, that's looping at 45 seconds, buddy. I know what you're doing there.
Yeah, I feel that too. I feel that.
You know what I mean? I know what you're doing there. You're trying to get that on TikTok,
Yeah, for sure.
It doesn't work with my accordion music as much. Have not found the same level of success. I've tried to, but doesn't seem to be working out as much,
Yeah, I get that.
But I'm always here, and I'm really cheap. I'm not that cheap, but I can be cheap, Don't worry about it. Have you been staying in touch with fans and all that over Zoom? I know it's a bit strange.
I have. Yeah, I have. It's been fun. We've been doing these little Zoom sessions. I did one for the first time. I'm actually doing one later today, where I'll just throw up on my Instagram a thing, sign up if you want to come on Zoom and talk. And it's been really fun. At first I was kind of nervous because it can be tough on Zoom, but the first one went really great. Everyone was super excited. I felt like I made friends with people. So yeah, definitely trying to stay in touch in a time where it's really hard to stay in touch, for sure.
What's something that someone has said to you as part of these things that sticks out to you as particularly meaningful?
I think there was one young lady on one of my Zooms that she said, your first album got me through high school, and the second one's going to get me through college. It's and I don't know, something about that, because I had those albums too that like helped me through junior high or through high school or through my 1 year in college. So to know that like maybe the music I make is that album for someone where in like 30 years they'll listen back and think about like their college memories or high school memories. I don't know, something about that just like it meant so much to me. And she was kind of like taken aback by my reaction because I was like, that's like so dope. But that's, as an artist, that's like the best thing to hear, I think.
What's one little thing that you're looking forward to when you're going back on the road, when you start touring again? The answer can't be performing in front of people, feeling the energy from the crowd. That's all big stuff. I'm talking about what's a little thing you're looking forward to when touring and music gets back to normal.
That's a great question. I think also I want to say with touring, that's like one thing I miss so much that I used to take so for granted. Because, touring can be grueling. And I used to just like, it would exhaust me and drain me. And I can't wait to get home. And now I'm like, oh, that process is so great. I think for me, honestly, I'd say like the couple seconds right when you finish a show and you and your band are like side stage and you're like, oh, that was so good. Or even if it was bad and you're like, damn, we could have done this better. But for me, it's like whoever I'm playing with, like whether it's my one keyboard player or the whole band, like as soon as the show finishes and we're off and we finally like meet, like it's so cool because you're like talking about this magic that you just made and you're like quickly like we have to run back on and get all the gear. It's just like so chaotic, but I miss that a lot.
I love that. I mean, that goes back to that to the whole theme of the record of moments in between. It's not the actual moment of being on stage. Exactly. It's the lovely moment afterwards, that couple of seconds,
Yeah, exactly.
We're going to play Share from the album. And then we're also going to play the artist Share. No, I'm only joking. We're going to play Share from the album after the interview. It closes out the record. Tell me what the song is about before we play it.
Yeah, thank you for playing that also. That's probably, to me, like the most meaningful song on there. I think that song just as a writer also, it makes me the most proud because I feel like I wrote that one the best. And for me, it's just about like wanting to be there for someone and wanting to take on their burdens and also wanting that in return, like just wanting someone to share like life with, the goods, the ups and the downs. And I think that's another thing that just became so evident to me this past year is how important it is to have those like people that you can just like share your life with it and be your full authentic self and talk about your fears and your joys and everything. I wrote that in particular about someone that was going through something and I just really wanted them to like give it like all to me, like, let me help you out with this. I'm here.
Well, I think people will take their own comfort from it, when they listen to it.
Thank you. Yeah,
Ruth, always lovely to talk to you.
So lovely to talk to you, Tom. We need to do this more often, honestly.
Listen, I can set up a weekly appointment. Okay. My rates are very reasonable. We can make this work.
I love it. I'm so down. So down.
Ruth B was my guest from Edmonton, Alberta. Her new album is called Moments in Between, and it's out everywhere, June 11th.